That's okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Unspeakable Oath. Still probably one of my favorite scenarios.
That's not what we're here to
from
talk about,
this.
Justin.
But let's dive into the player cards. We're starting with Trench Knife. Cost 1, it's an asset, for it has 1 hand slot. Commits for a fist. Engage actions you perform do not provoke attacks of opportunity. As an action, fight, you get plus X attack. Plus X, fist for this attack. X is the number of enemies engaged with you. When I read the name Trench Knife, I thought this was the survival knife, so I don't have much to say about this card.
Trench Knife is Trench Knife.
This is
It
for
looks
that,
way
like,
cooler than it is.
yeah, this is for that archetype where, like, you load up on, like, allies and, like, triggers or whatever, and then you wander around and you're like, I'll take that, and I'll take that, and you let them, like, run themselves into garbage. Like Guard Dog, but
Yeah.
it's not, like, very good, I don't think.
That doesn't seem good.
No,
This
it's.
card-
I think just killing enemies is a better archetype, and like having 2 enemies engaged with you at the same time is a little tough. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to make that happen.
Especially since it does not give you extra
Yeah,
damage.
I think the real value of this card is that engage actions you perform do not provoke attacks of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I think you should be playing this card if you choose to. Not because of the bottom part where it says fight, do a thing. Like, no, ignore that bit.
Yeah. Just take Slinger Bandolier and then, like, forget about it.
I would like this weapon more if, for example, it had the top thing and then a passive effect if you fight an enemy. If you fight an enemy when you have 2 or more enemies engaged with you, gain +1 fight. I feel like would be.
If this thing did +1 damage for each enemy engaged with you.
What if it was like inverse machete?
That'd be kind of neat.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
that's that's really
that'd
cool.
make
If
it
it was
very
like
nice compliment, but
+1 and then +1 damage if there were more than 1 enemy.
I don't
engaged
think that's
with you.
something they'd print because it's too obvious.
Because then you just have machete in one hand and the other one in the
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
Just
you'd be
cha
like,
cha cha cha.
There's 2 guys, I'll stab him with this one. Oh, there's only 1 guy left. Chop.
Yeah, that would be cool though.
Yeah, the enemies engage you and they're like, oh man, there's too many of us for him to get a good chopper, and you're like,
That's
that's what you think.
Ambush.
We
2.
definitely played with this card.
The art's cool. 2 costs 1 experience. Commits for a book and a fist. It's a tactic. Attached to your location. If
Ooh,
there are
Mark
no
Harrigan,
investigators at detached location, discard ambush. Force. After enemy spawns at attached location, deal 2 damage to that enemy and discard ambush.
Yep.
Like, so this card...
You gotta jump through a few hoops, huh?
Yeah, I think this card is, like... This card's okay if you know the scenario inside and out.
Yeah.
Like, if you know there's a big enemy that's going to spawn, you can sit there and get 2 free damage against him. That's, like, a free action.
You should get 8 free damage. Or,
Yeah.
Well, not 8 free damage.
Like, a lot...
You could get a lot of free damage if you had more than 1 set.
Yeah. No, like, these things actually gets a little bit better than we were discussing earlier briefly.
Yeah.
In that, like, yeah, you can just, like, dump them on location and sit there until the big baddie shows up and, like, kind of store your actions of the Guardian for later until... as damage. Because... It's not uncommon for your Guardian to be like, oh, there's no enemies to kill, what do I do?
That is true. The only thing is then I see the situation where he lays out the ambush and then the other players draw the enemies and they're like, help. And he's like, no, but I'm waiting.
No, that's not what this is good for. I mean, like, yeah, it's on your teammates for not having ways to deal with enemies because they're scrubs. But, like, this is for, like, the big...
Yeah, like, you know where
like
the
when you
Ghoul
flip
Priest
the
is
goal,
gonna
Yes.
spawn.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You could just deal 2 damage to him for free for an action this turn instead of next turn.
Yeah. I still doesn't excite me.
No,
I mean,
like-
it feels better in solo because you're,
Yeah.
like, you do it as your last action. No, you're probably going to do something, right?
I'm not saying this card's good, I'm just showing you
Just
where
there
it's
where
good.
it could be, yeah.
Yeah, like, as when you play blue characters, there's a lot of other things that you can spend experience on that are very good.
Yeah, like... But yeah, if you know where a big enemy is going to spawn, that is an excellent use of it. I wish it... I don't know. Committed for more? The art's cool. The guy with the squids, I wish I was his friend. Yeah, I don't know that.
He does.
Charles Ross, Esquire. Excuse me, save image. Charles Ross, get your head in the game. Reviewed card. All right, Charles Ross, Esquire. 2 resources. He is an asset and an ally. Commits for 1 book. Has 1 meat, 2 brain. You may spend resources to pay for item assets played by other investigators at your location. As an action, exhaust Charles Ross, Esquire. Reduce the cost of the next item asset played by investigator at your location by 1.
Yeah, now it's very important to note that this character can only be used to pay for item assets, not just assets in general, like what I may have read the first time that I tried to play with this card. That being said, I think he's still very powerful.
Yeah.
Fun fact, this guy's part of almost a cycle, where everybody except for blue gets a patron ally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just noticed that now.
Cool. So as we were talking beforehand, I feel like this is going to be a new build for yellow, potentially, which is helping your fellow people.
A new theme.
And Charlie Kane. This is why if Charlie Kane could be yellow, this is how they would do it.
Mm-hmm.
He would be like this weird, don't worry, I'll buy it for you. But this card's, it seems good. Like,
No, he seems pretty solid. Like, you're playing the yellow character, you can't fight for yourself, so you're following your blue buddy around, and he's like, I don't have enough money to buy this gun this
you're
turn.
like, don't worry,
hang on.
Charles. And he's like,
You need a gun? I'll buy you a gun.
No, I like this card a lot in that it like offers yellow something that isn't just
getting clues.
It gives us something different. Like like they can move for free and they can get clues, and that's what they got.
Yeah. This is also something to do with your resource when you're playing yellow and you're like, all my cards are free because everything is super powerful.
You're sitting there and you've got your charisma and you're like done playing with Dr. Milan for half the game. You're like, I have 3 million money.
Yeah, I'll buy you this gun.
Yeah, I'll buy whatever you want.
And because yellow, you naturally are following other players. Yeah.
That's how I laughs my Charlie Kane voice for that.
I mean, he's coming. And, like, this is where, if he's going to be yellow, it would be this weird kind of different build. Which could be pretty cool.
This card's really good. Forewarned. It's event.
Forearmed.
Yeah, forearmed. It's fun to play. 1 experience, commits for a brain. Fast, when you withdraw a non-weakness Treachery card. You can place one of your clues in your location and then cancel that card's revelation effect.
Man, you know what this card is? It's an insight.
You know who this card's insane in? Roland.
Yeah.
Because you're like a bad Treachery I can't foot or brain away from. Like, get out of here. I'll just kill an enemy and get it back.
Yeah.
This also synergizes very well with a lot of cards that like play only if there's a clue in your location or garbage.
Yeah.
It's also very good when you're playing Rex.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
all yellow cards are good when you're playing Rex.
And getting clues are so easy for Seekers that it's basically just cancel a card and then it's like spend 1 action, which is then in the future investigate to not have the gameplay against you for a turn.
This is like it's almost comical at this point. This card's like so disgusting in Rex. Where you're just like, oh no, I'm not gonna get full value on my ability. Discovering this 1 clue this turn. I guess I just won't have a Treachery card.
Yeah.
Guess we'll get both of these back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Dario El-Amin.
You send me Dario.
This guy's my boy.
Yeah, as far as like sugar daddy allies go.
4 cost, commits for a book.
This patron.
2 brain, 2 meat. While you have 10 or more resources, you get +1 brain and +1 book. If there are no enemies at your location, exhaust him to gain 2 resources as an action.
Man. So this card is so much better than St. Hubert's Key, which only costs 4 and gives you a brain and a book. This guy costs 14 to give you a brain and a book.
I was gonna say, I haven't played with this guy. I was playing St. Hubert's Key. That card's very good, Brain.
But
he also takes up your ally slot, so that's
he is actually very good. In green decks, you often have a ton of resources, which means you have lots of cards that you're going to use to leverage having lots of resources, and he just helps you stack a whole ton of points.
Yeah.
Whether he actually gives you the bonus or not, he's still pretty strong. Usually the turn you play him, you just gain your 2 resources back, and he was effectively 2 for a 2/2, which is not a bad place to be.
He's also like the secondary reason as to why green is a sort of more bookie class than a fighty class.
Yeah. I mean, I've liked Dario. Like, if I have Dario or Leo in my opening hand, I want Leo more, but I'm not upset if Dario's there.
Yeah, the deck I've played most recently, Dario was, I'm not sure if there's a percentage that he was better than Leo, because every time I played Leo, it was like, fuck, I can't play the game for 2 turns, but...
I feel like he should also commit for a brain. I'm just going to say that right now. That would make sense.
That would make sense.
So this guy, it's actually kind of interesting. I haven't played with him myself, but I've watched both of you play with him. And since he came out, you guys kind of brushed him off and like really came around to him as you played with him longer.
Yeah, it's because you had to find a way to cheat on Leo without Leo figuring it out.
I think a big...
Something we should do is we should go back and make a video with the core set cards and just discuss the ones we thought were the best and the ones we thought were the worst and see where they fall again.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
My opinion of Leo has fallen quite a bit.
Oh, you hear that, Leo? Just knock it off.
My opinion of Fat Man has
it's gone up. Yeah,
by a lot.
I mean, like the thing about Dario when I first saw him is having 10 resources seems like a big mountain to climb. But
For green, it's less so.
yeah, like that's the thing.
No, it's been really interesting to watch you guys. Like, oh, I guess I'll play this guy in my deck and see how he does. And it's pretty good.
Yeah, because I mean, like even just as an action, gaining 2 resources, it's like
he's got a pretty nifty combo with a card from the Forgotten Age.
What is it?
Fucking what's her name? Santiago, Miss Santiago.
oh yeah, the
Lola
yellow one.
Santiago.
That's a lot of experience, though.
Lola Santiago. She costs 3 to play.
Yeah,
I
it's a lot
will
of experience,
say,
Yeah, but she's also Lola Santiago is also like
I think I might not even have her to be
Leo.
though. I don't think you do.
sometimes, and when she's not like Leo, she's like, what if you ran faster and booked better?
Yep.
I will say if you're playing this guy's both good and bad when you're playing the Jenny that has the green man because you want resources, but then you just pay him for
But
the
yeah,
green
you
man.
want to spend them all.
Hey, next green card, sneak attack upgraded. Man, this one has a lot of stuff going for it from the old one.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
2 to play, 2 experience, commits for a book, and 2 fists. It's a tactic. You can just stab someone you're not engaged with at your location.
We don't even need to be exhausted. It's just
Yeah.
it's great.
This is great support.
This
Yeah.
is so much better than Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack 0.
Your green or your fighter is like rumbling with a guy. You're just like, I'll just stab him.
Yeah,
Really,
like
he's not
he
looking.
misses
Exactly
his last
as
attack,
expected.
and he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna take a brain and 2 hearts this turn." And you're like,
No.
This guy's looking the other way.
Man, there's no reviews for this card. That's it's good because everyone's just like, yeah.
Yeah,
there's,
this one's
there's not a whole lot to discuss here. It's just.
And I mean, like, I don't like in desperation it has 2 fists, which is also really good. But I mean, 2 damage is basically
two
No,
damage
it's just-
without a test is 2 damage without a test.
yeah. Not much more to say.
Yeah.
Ironically, something we were much more critical on with Ambush. But
Right.
But I mean, like, that's because this one, you don't need to jump
requires,
through a
like
hoop.
little set, almost no setup. All you have to do is not be currently engaged with that enemy. They don't have to be exhausted. Nothing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Storm of Spirits 3, an event. Not it is a spell, but not an arcane slot. Book, commits for brain and fist. Fight. This attack uses brain instead of fist. If you succeed, instead of its standard damage, this attack deals 2 damage to each enemy at your location. If a fuck you chit is drawn, deal 1 damage to each investigator at your location.
this card looks good, but it's not.
Oh man, but we got to talk about the possible kill potential of this card. Like you could kill everything that's in play right now.
Yes,
It could be done.
Okay, so what
Can
this
we
is right
already-
now? This is exactly what we do when we look at your cards. We're like, I can imagine a scenario where this is the best card in the world, but every time you draw, you're like, there's 1 enemy in my location. 2 damage won't kill it. I have to spend 3 resources to maybe
And
take
if I
a damage
fail,
myself.
like if I fail, not only do I take a damage, but everyone else who's here does.
Can
Yeah,
we set
and
the
you don't get
possibility of killing Min with this?
Yeah, you could kill that's what I mean.
Like,
Not only
everyone.
could you kill all the monsters in play, but you could also kill all the investigators in play too at the same time.
I think this card has high potential for experience cards, but in general, it's just like a real bad Dynamite Blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Next card, Book of Shadows. This one's like a lower level than the other one. It's an asset that costs 3 to play, costs 1 experience. Commits for a book, item, tome, takes by hand slot. As an action, you can exhaust it and spend a resource to add 1 charge for spells that you control. This is meant to supplement the Akachi decks. I think it's fine, but it's nothing special.
Yeah, I mean, like having a way, if you have spent 5 resources on a shriveling, or 5 experience on a shriveling, having a way to reload said shriveling
Yeah, it's good.
is quite valuable.
On the cheap.
What's Daisy's brain?
Yeah.
Daisy's brain is like 5 or 4 or something.
Because I mean, like this.
Daisy's real good at doing spells.
Yeah,
but
like this is good for her. Like
this is good for her, but like generally, if you're casting spells, you're in bad spots. You'd much rather be helping your fellow investigators churn through their decks with old Book of Lore.
I agree. Like that's the thing. Like I'm just trying to like think of like when like this also could be good, because like the only time I've found Daisy to be actually enjoyable to play is in the Dumb Witch Legacy because the Necronomicon is a tome,
Yes.
and just getting 2 free resources a turn is pretty stellar.
Yep. Most of what this card does, I'd rather just pay 2 experience for the other one, where you don't have to pay the money to put the charge, and you get an additional arcane slot.
Yeah, it's much better. But I mean, like that's the nice thing about purples is that they're like one of the few classes that actually have like upgrades, so you can like bank it and then be like, I'll get.
Yeah,
that
that
in
is
the
actually
future.
kind of a thing that purple has. Other colors don't, where they have like
levels.
Yeah, you get
sections.
to learn to be better at your thing.
You can like practice, spend your time practicing.
It's pretty
as you
cool.
run through the
Wow, that's very
campaign.
flavorful.
Fight or flight.
This card's sick.
1. It's an event. Fast. Literally doing your turn.
I was talking about wrong thing. I bet I did.
Oh, maybe it was. There's that one that you throw liquidate people. This one?
Yeah, mind over
matter.
matter. Damn it.
Until the end of the round, you get plus X fist and plus X foot, where X is the amount of horror on you. Seems good with Calvin. Just if you want to have fucking 12.
Sometimes you're like, you know what I need right now? 10 punch without my weapon.
Yeah, I mean, like, the card seems good.
Yeah, like
This is one of those cards I think is almost exclusively a Calvin card.
there are other worlds I could see wanting to play it. Like there are a lot of red investigators who have a reasonable
brain score.
I do.
There are a lot of other characters from other classes that can play this card that have high brain scores.
Yeah, but I do see what Travis means too, because there's no symbol to commit with it that you
cannot play it unless.
But I mean, like, let's then talk about if you can't play it because you have no horror on you. You're probably doing pretty good.
Yeah, like life's probably pretty alright.
But like, yeah, like there is a risk of it.
No, it's the issues where it's like sitting in your hand and you're like, I have 2 horror on me. Is it really worth having? Like, it doesn't help you with brain checks, which are going to deal more brain damage to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't help you with book checks, which are like actually pretty non-existent, if I'm being honest. And like for foot checks, it doesn't help you with the scary ones that treacheries provide, unless you're like exploring in the Forgotten Age. Mm-hmm. But then you have to like plan ahead for that, and like maybe it doesn't even do anything. It's just like you get to punch really good twice or evade really good twice.
Yeah,
if it's
fast.
Yeah, 3
times.
It is
fast. Yeah. And if you're if you're in that desperate deck, this also is very good because you're gonna
if you're playing Agnes Baker, then you want to have horror damage on you anyway, because that triggers your ability. So like you can use this to after you've used.
I feel like if it
ideally in Agnes though, you just never want to do either of those tests.
Yeah. I feel like if it commit for a symbol,
like not during your turn.
If it commit for a symbol, this card would be there'd be a lot less risk of it being a dead card. Not that I think it's bad, but
yeah, I don't think this card's bad. I just think it's a little too situational for the average deck.
The only time I've really played it was in a Calvin deck, so
it felt good.
This card is also sick. A test of will. Yeah, you're a little bit biased on that point. Yeah. One to play. This is
one experience
or red. This is red's part of the cycle of dealing with encounter cards.
Yeah.
So yellow gets to put a clue black one. The purple gets the good one. Red gets this one.
And green
green gets you deal with it. Blue gets I'll deal with it.
So the green one's the best
I'll
deal with
it, but blue also gets mine as a monster.
Yeah. Anyway, this one, fast one. Any investigator your location draws a non-weakness treachery card. Cancel that card's revelation effect and exile a test of will. Just to go over again, exile means like at the end of the scenario you have to pay experience put back in your deck or replace it with a level 0 card.
Yeah, it's like for 1 experience, this card is very powerful.
Yeah. And like,
man, this card is like actually like a 9 or 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm.
There's very little downside to it.
Yeah, no, like
it's
a one experience.
Worst case scenario, you don't draw a bad treachery card and it just stays in your hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not even like you. It's just like
anyone
at your location. Yeah. No, it's so good.
Yeah,
I mean, as the red one, you're more likely to be by yourself than the other ones, but still, like, it's very good for.
If you're playing a red character, you actually don't get cards that cost more than 3 experience to play.
Yeah.
So you often have a little bit extra to throw around on.
And I've also noticed that like the red cards are very they're very focused. So like you do your experience for your build, and then you're like, no, I just buy my exile cards.
Red has very defined archetypes.
Yes.
Compared to other classes.
Is Devil's Luck a card?
Oh yeah, Devil's Luck is the other one that was part of this cycle. It cancels a bajillion damage.
Yep. Fast
would you die? Don't.
It's a 1 to play, commits for a foot, fast, play when you are dealt damage and or horror, cancel up to 10 damage and or horror just dealt to you, exile Devil's Luck.
If canceling 10 damage cannot save you,
what are you doing?
Then you are dead no matter what.
Yeah.
Like the highest numbers I think we've seen on damage are from the Dunwich Legacy.
There's
that one
card?
treachery that like
it does 10.
Yeah.
And Yogg-Sothoth, who spoilers. If you guys haven't played that yet,
what?
He'll chunk you for 5 brains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think this card is like noticeably worse than Test of Will, but I definitely wouldn't feel bad if I had experience laying around. I wouldn't feel bad including a copy or something.
Like Fight or Flight, this card
Just
is very good if you're playing Calvin because you want to sit at 1/1. So if you take a direct damage, you will die.
Yeah.
Being able to just pay 1 and not die is a whole lot better than just die.
Yeah, and we got Colin in favors.
This card is insane. This card is part of what makes allies so ridiculous in this game.
So
and I wish this is one of the few cards I wish I actually had more copies of.
So it costs 1 book and foot. It commits 4. Choose an ally asset. It's a favor. You control and return it to your hand. Then search the top 9 cards of your deck for an ally asset and play it, reducing its cost by X, where X is the cost of ally asset returned to your hand. Then shuffle your deck.
There's so many ways to abuse this. You can use, like, the 2 ways that I personally have gotten the most use out of it is just, like, recycling the Red Glove Man over and over again. That's so good. And also, there's, like, a roll-in build where you cycle through, like, Dr. William T. Malleson's to soak horror damage and art students to gain clues for free. And, like, beat cops to deal damage to things.
Yeah, getting to recycle a beat cop after you've used it to arrest 2 people.
Yeah.
And then, like, getting to play beat cop number 2 out of your deck for free is pretty alright.
No, like, this card, well, it is, like, a very high experience cost with the Red Glove Man. It's just disgusting. Like, best case scenario, you're like, I find another copy of Red Glove Man. I have 6 everything this turn. Like, that's so good.
Yeah.
And you can soak 1,000,000 damage.
Yeah.
It's just, it's such a good... The only thing that this card doesn't have going for it, it's not fast.
Yes, that would be... And it also doesn't have every symbol on it to commit for. That would be great, too. If we were in Magical... If we were designing the card for
that's asking a little bit much, Justin.
When you play it, you heal to full health.
It costs 0 resources.
And you gain experience when you put it in your deck. Wow. That's the end of the Unspeakable Oath. Thanks for watching.